Welcome, everybody. I'm Dean Felsher. I'm the founding director of the Master's in Tram graduate program, and I really appreciate you coming today to hear more about our program. I want to alert you all that if you have questions, you're welcome to put them in the chat, and we will address these questions either by directly responding to you, and there'll also be a chance to ask and answer questions later in this session. The Masters in Tram program is directed by me, Dean Felsher. The executive director is Joanna Lilienthal, who you'll meet shortly. Our program was built to create a new master's in the science of translational research and applied medicine. It's a one-year program, and the goal was to teach fundamentals in performing translational medical research. We take advantage of outstanding scientific and medical resources and faculty at Stanford University, and we include industry leaders with practical and actual experience in translating scientific discoveries into clinical applications. We have a unique program. Indeed, it is the first program at Stanford and many other universities that provides a training that includes both didactics and experiential learning in translational science. And if we can go to the next slide, please. Now, our program has tremendous support from many individuals at Stanford University, including many chairs and directors of other programs that had encouraged us to build a program that they realized met a need that had not been provided in academia, providing really a focused training in translational science across different areas of medicine and science. And our program includes many of these faculty who serve as advisors to the program, but also are advisors to our graduate students. And they also teach in our many different courses. And we'll talk more about this curriculum and the programs part of our graduate program. Next slide, please. Our Stanford faculty advisors include individuals with broad experience in translational investigation in different areas of medical science, in different areas of clinical science, for the full range of translational investigation, from early translation of basic scientific discoveries to clinical investigation to performance of clinical trials. They include individuals such as Carolyn Bertozzi, who won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry, and Russ Altman, a tremendous investigator with experience in pharmacogenomics and bioinformatics. They include leaders of our Cancer Institute, such as Steve Tandy, chair of our Department of Medicine and Pediatrics, such as Ewan Ashley and Mary Leonard. They incurred leadership of institutes, such as Joe Wu of the Cardiovascular Institute, Steve Tandy of the Cancer Institute, and Kevin Grimes of the Spark program. They include chemists who have pioneered the development of therapeutics, such as Nathaniel Gray, and they include leaders in the institution, in the dean's office, such as Ruth O'Hara, who's our Senior Associate Dean of Research. Next slide, please. But a very unique and important aspect of our program is that we have global advisors, individuals who provide leadership and experience from outside of Stanford University, often in major positions or experience in biotech and pharma. These individuals participate as advisors to our students. They teach as part of our curriculum, and they also provide experiential learning experiences for our students. And you can see the broad breadth of ranges of experience from serving as CEOs to leadership positions in pharma companies to experience in venture and investment to individuals with knowledge of law and legal aspects or developmental aspects of therapeutics. Next slide, please. Now we're looking for a broad range of candidates, and it's important that our approach has been to choose people who we believe will be leaders in translational investigation with a variety of different possible career outcomes. Uh, we want people who will be leaders in academia and industry, people who will be leaders in different aspects of medical translation. We want people who are interested in many different kinds of clinical problem solving. And we're also looking for people with different backgrounds and at different levels of experience. But our focus is particularly on individuals who represent professional, intellectual, demographic, and cultural backgrounds that as a group will provide a, a greater sum than the individual students, because a lot of the learning that takes place and a lot of the value comes from your fellow students who are part of the program. And we're looking for passion and ability. We're looking for people who have previous experiences that would make them outstanding candidates for our programs. And we list some of the kind of areas in clinical, basic, and technical backgrounds and clinical management that we see as specifically outstanding candidates for our programs. And you can see that there are broad backgrounds, and our graduates and participants to date in our graduate program have really come from around the world, many different areas of medical translational interest, and many different ideas in the trajectory of where they would like to participate in medical translation. Next slide. Now, our curriculum, as I said, really integrates didactics, formal courses that teach different aspects of the science of translation and includes experiential learning, opportunities for hands-on experience to understand the technologies and measurements involved in medical translation, to understand practical aspects through experiences in internships, in biotech, through the ability to participate in a research program in an academic laboratory. This, as a whole, provides a really unique approach to the learning of the science of translation. And we really believe it is highly synergistic, that there's both a formal educational experience, but there are also experiential experiences. We also tailor this program largely with input from the students themselves. And so we're very interested in having a program that provides the best experience for each student based on their needs to develop their trajectory to becoming successful as leaders in the science of translation. Next slide, please. Now, the leadership of the program, as I mentioned, includes me and Joanna will be talking in a short moment. We also has a program manager, Laura, who refers to herself as the mom of the program, plays an integral role in making sure each student is thought about, cared about, and has their needs met for being successful in our program. Our program is part of DREAM, which is a division within the Department of Medicine, and includes tremendous administrative and leadership support from many individuals, including Juliet, Christy, Andrew, and Kirsten, that provide support behind the scenes for having our program work seamlessly and productively. Now, very important to the leadership of the program is that all of us want to work with all of you and have you feel that we care about you while you're in the program, but we also have a deep interest in supporting you as you finish and complete the program. And to date, our graduates have generally kept in contact with all of us. We continue to provide letters of support, references for candidates as they continue their trajectory towards the ultimate goal of being leaders in medical translation. Next slide, please. You need to go back one slide. So now I'd like to introduce Dr. Joanna Lilienthal, the executive director of the program, who'll tell you some more specifics about our program. And I also there'll be a chance at the end to ask all of us questions about our program, and you're going to have a chance to meet some of our students. Joanna?
Thank you, Dean, and welcome to our info session. So I'm going to delve a little bit deeper into the details of the operations of our program. But first of all, we are all here because I think you're all passionate about translating scientific discoveries into real-world solutions. And that's exactly what M-TRAM is all about. So who is the program for? The program is ideal for those interested in building a strong foundation for a career in biotechnology, pharma, academia, as well as clinical research. It's also a great stepping stone for those pursuing further medical or scientific education, such as medical school or PhD. So what the program is, it bridges the disciplines like emerging technologies, drug development, and clinical trials. So it will equip you to take innovations from the lab to the clinic. As you can see in all the skills that are listed on the slide, it's really designed for those ready to lead in the space and make a tangible impact in healthcare. So we equip you with those essential skills, and the balance of these skills ensures that our graduates are not only experts in their scientific fields, but also leaders ready to bring innovations to market and transform patient care. One of the hallmarks of our program is the hands-on approach. So our curriculum blends advanced training in translational medicine with real-world experience. And that's done through a mix of classroom learning and experiential opportunities. And the goal is to develop the skills and move these medical innovations from concept to application. So some of the project-based learning that we've outlined here are capstone projects, for instance, which are the key feature of the program, where students tackle real-world healthcare challenges with their mentors, with their advisors. And additionally, you'll have lots of hands-on experiences, such as clinical rotations, as well as specific coursework that teaches you hands-on skills in genomics, proteomics, cell-based assays, drug screening, and computational biology. Most of our students complete the program in one academic year, from autumn through summer quarter. The three main components of our curriculum are core courses, the hands-on capstone research project, as well as a clinical rotation. And I won't, you can read it on our website. I won't delve deep into what, all the med to whatever numbers mean. But you can see the schematic of how we distribute the classes throughout the quarters. Our core courses provide a comprehensive foundation in drug development, from initial drug discovery through clinical trials and through commercialization and healthcare economics. We cover the full cycle of drug development, including even the intellectual property and patents. Our students gain hands-on knowledge in cutting-edge research technologies. And then we also have a seminar class that brings it all together, offering insights into the latest trends and real-world applications in translational medicine. So this is, most people ask us lots of questions about the capstone project. So I really wanted to outline this and delve a little bit deeper into what the capstone project is and how you do that. These are really the cornerstones of the M-TRAM program. Students select a project in one of 4 areas, so therapeutics, diagnostics, vaccines, or devices, focusing on full development life cycle from early T0 research all the way through advanced clinical trials, T4. You'll work with a mentor, typically a Stanford professor, sometimes also a biotech and pharma expert. And the goal here is to identify unmet healthcare needs, propose innovative solutions, and develop a pathway to bring these solutions to market. As part of your capstone, you learn how to write a grant proposal, design a clinical trial, and create a business pitch deck. And you'll do that in each quarter. So you're in the first quarter, it's the grant, then you learn the clinical trial, then it's the business pitch deck at the end. The program rather begins in September and runs throughout the year. And the work commitment is kind of light. It's 10 hours per week, but it can be more depending on the project. And you'll present key milestones along the way. So a grant proposal in mid-December, clinical trial in March, and the pitch deck in May. And then there'll be a final deliverable, a final presentation at the TRAM symposium in May, after you complete the year of classes, where you'll present a poster, which is one of the requirements for graduation. Also, what's unique about our program is that our students have the opportunity to engage in a 1-quarter long clinical rotation, which can be extended for longer. Clinical rotation is really essential to our program because it gives students the hands-on experience in patient care while enhancing their research skills. So students observe clinical procedures in areas such as oncology, cardiology, depending on what your interest is. It can really be any clinical area that you are interested in. And this experience is key to developing clinical research skills and understanding the unmet needs, the real world applications of your capstone project. This is merely to show you that, this is a weekly schedule, and this is really to show you that our program is, even though it's a full-time program and it is mostly in person, the classes are clustered in days set in times such that to allow for flexibility without compromising your existing clinical research obligations or work obligations. Some of our students actually work part-time. Career outcomes for M-TRAM students and their graduates are really diverse. It really depends on your interests. Many of our alumni have gone on to work in leading pharma or biotech companies, while others have pursued advanced degrees, PhD degrees, and MD degrees, and fellowships in medicine or research. The program's focus on interdisciplinary skills ensures that you'll have a competitive edge regardless of the path you choose. And of course, the specific outcome always depends upon your prior training and your interests. But we expect all of our graduates to go directly to leadership positions in academia, industry, government, or the clinic. So some of you have already applied, and those of you who are still thinking about applying, our online application is open until the end of January 2025. And the application is very self-explanatory. You will need to provide transcripts, letters of recommendations, your CV, and a statement of intent, which is very important. You really have to write why you want to pursue M-TRAM, the purpose, and what is your career path. There will also be supplemental questions, which are very important to answer. We don't require GRE. For the international students, though, we do require, this is a Stanford requirement, really. We do require a evidence of the TOEFL English proficiency exam. So what happens after you apply? You can see this timeline here. Soon after our application are due, we start reviewing the applications. If you are selected to the next round, you'll hear from us sometime March or April, and then we'll make the decisions until May. And we'll send you the acceptance email that you'll need to respond to through the admissions portal. We do have a TRAM symposium on May 29th. It's optional for you to attend. However, if you're admitted to the program and if you are willing to travel to Stanford or you are local, it would be a wonderful event where you'll meet the graduating students and you'll meet some of our faculty and advisors. Throughout the summer, we will meet with you virtually to discuss your interests, to discuss potential capstone advisor matches in clinical rotation. So you do not need to know this before applying to M-TRAM. We decide on this before you come to M-TRAM, but it's a mutual process where we discuss this with you. And the first day of classes is September 22nd. This is one thing that I really don't like talking about, but it's very important. So M-TRAM is a self-paid master's program, just like all other master's programs at Stanford. And because it's Stanford, the tuition is hefty. So you have to have a plan for how to pay for it. And the plan can be either through grants, scholarships, or other means. I would advise you to contact the Stanford Financial Aid ASAP, and they will provide you the basics, and they will provide you with other information on scholarships as well as a variety of other funding options for students. Last but not least, I wanted to share with you testimonials of our alumni, some of our alumni who are really excited about the program. Our alumni, you can read it yourself, but what I want to point out is that our alumni consistently highlight how M-TRAM's blend of research and real-world application help them advance their careers. Overall, the program's approach, being very interdisciplinary, has really helped prepare graduates for success in both academia and industry. And that's very unique about the Stanford M-TRAM. So M-TRAM will help you extend your knowledge and connections and provide you with essential tools to build an exciting career in translational medicine. And that's really all I want to say. I wanted to thank you for your interest in M-TRAM. We're here to answer any questions you have about the program. And always feel free to reach out to us. The contact is provided here at M-TRAM Studies at stanford.edu or our individual emails. And before, this concludes the official part of the presentation. But before we delve into the Q&A, I also wanted to introduce our students who have joined this info session to tell you a few words about their experience at M-TRAM. So I'm going to call on each one of you and very briefly introduce yourselves, and so that when you ask questions, you can direct them to either one of the students or us in the leadership. So Anisha Laumas, please. You're on mute. You're muted.
Okay. Hi everyone, I'm Anisha. As Jonah mentioned, current M-TRAM student. I'm originally from Connecticut, and I graduated from Harvard in 2023, and I studied biology and did computational bio research in college. I also worked as like a research assistant here at Stanford for the past year while applying to M-TRAM. And now that I'm in the program, my focus has kind of shifted more towards kind of the business side of biotech, and I'm also doing a part-time internship at a company in San Francisco. So yeah, happy to answer any questions about me or the program.
Great. Nadia Iswari.
Hi everyone, my name is Nadia. I just joined the M-TRAM program, and okay, so sorry about that. Yeah, I finished my undergrad degree in Canada. I went to the University of Toronto. I graduated 2019, and then I joined a biotech company at Canada, where I work as a scientist for the last 4 years. Now currently in the M-TRAM program, I'm working in my PI's lab where I do CAR-T research. So it's been fun. There's a lot of like hands-on opportunity to get involved into different projects. So I'm enjoying it right now.
Go Butler.
Hi, we're all in the same room and using the one microphone from one computer. So if the sound quality is not great, it's because of that. Sorry. Hi, I'm Go. I am currently the TA for the program, and I graduated from this program in 23. My career interests are in being a physician scientist. So I'm really interested in seeing patients and coming up with new therapies, working with companies to try and develop new therapies. So it's a pleasure to see how many participants that we have, and welcome to M-TRAM.
Yeah. Li Yuan.
Hello, everyone. My name is Li Yuan. I came from a chemistry and pharmaceutical background. I graduated with my first master's in 2019, and then I joined the consumer goods industry, where I formulate personal care product, especially skincare product. So ever since then, I have grow interest in dermatologic research and everything that we can do as a scientist to make our skin better in terms of more good looking or more healthy. So I joined M-TRAM this year to deepen my knowledge in the clinical and more biologic way. And I think M-TRAM has provided a very unique opportunity for us as a non-medical student to join the clinical rotation to see how the physician practice in real life, which is super helpful for us to continue our career in the translational perspective. Yep.
Great. And Nadia Cave.
I'm Nadia as well. I graduated from UC Davis back in 2022, and I studied biotechnology and public health.
Sorry, Nadia, we can hardly hear you. Maybe you can go over to Li Yuan's computer.
Yeah. Sorry about that. So I'm Nadia. I graduated from UC Davis back in 2022 with a degree in biotechnology and a minor in public health. Similar to Anisha, I've been at Stanford for the last couple of years, working in one of the research labs, researching allogeneic and off-the-shelf CAR T-cell therapies. And I was particularly interested in this program because I want to learn more about the business side of drug development and how to commercialize a product to ensure that my research findings in the lab actually had an impact on patients in the clinic.
Great. Thank you, students and alumni. I would like to now introduce our program manager, Laura Remillard, who will lead our Q&A session. And here is Laura.
Thank you very much. And again, thank you everyone for joining us. So we have a question here. General postgraduate applications have a prompt for why this program. In other words, why did you select this program? M-TRAM has a similar prompt. Can we overlap content of these responses, or do they have to be distinct?
Let me take this. Yes, you can write the same answer. Basically, the reason why there are two different kinds of questions is that one is really for the Stanford admissions, and the other is directly, the supplemental questions are directly for the M-TRAM program, is what we are interested in. So it is okay for you to overlap these, but just keep in mind that the audience is a little bit different. The first questions are more general, and the supplemental questions are for us.
Thank you. And then let's see here. Is the clinical rotation graded? Let's see here. For current USMD students, could it essentially act as a sub-rotation?
So it is not graded. It just needs to be completed. And for those who are already MDs, the clinical rotation is optional. However, if the MD student or person who has an MD degree still wants to do a clinical rotation because it will benefit their capstone project, we strongly encourage and we welcome those students to do the clinical rotation. But keep in mind that we can waive it if you have already earned an MD degree.
Thank you. Are the GPA requirement for Stanford admission different than program admission GPA requirement?
I would say, I mean, most relevantly to our program, we have a cutoff of 3.0, and that's the lowest that we will consider. Of course, it is Stanford, and we would assume anybody who applies to us will have good grades, but we take a very holistic approach in looking at the application. It's not strictly done by grades. I hope I'm answering that question. If anybody else wants to jump in to answer, feel free. Go ahead, Laura.
All right, thank you. We have one person asking, they are a low-income student from Latin America. She's asking, or this person is asking, can they obtain a master's degree or enter the faculty of the course? I can say that our program is open to all applicants, regardless of their background. Joanna or Dean, if you'd like to expand on that, please.
There are a number of scholarships opportunities and funding opportunities available from Stanford. And we also have lots of them listed on our website. There's also the Knight Hennessy. I think the deadlines has passed already, but there are just lots of funding opportunities.
Thank you. Someone's asking about a fee waiver. I can tell you that our program does not offer fee waivers. We are not set up for that at this point. Thank you. Let's see here. Regarding students with learning disabilities, we do not, how can I phrase this? We are not partial to anyone, and we accept all applicants regardless of their of their background, situation, and so forth. And I'm sure the leadership will work with you according to your
And there's
situation.
specific resources at Stanford that help students with learning disabilities. And as a matter of fact, we've had students with learning disabilities as part of M-TRAM, and we are always happy to accommodate and help anybody who needs extra help. And we point them to the right resources and we support them.
Thank you. How does this program support students with research backgrounds pivoting to more business-focused roles in industry?
Really well. In fact, one of the main intentions of the program is to allow people, whether they ultimately land in academia and industry, be able to interact in both arenas. We particularly see this as a program that allows people who've been in academia to bridge and develop a program in industry by gaining experience, connections, and relationships that would facilitate such a career. For example, we're hosting a job fair at JP Morgan that will provide our current students with a chance to meet with people who are seasoned, experienced as investors in biotech. But we see this experience also as being a bridge for people who want to have academic careers and understand some of the more practical aspects to build a translational program. But our program is definitely, we see it in many ways as a bridge going both ways. And it's also the way our programs are perceived at Stanford. So faculty at Stanford see that what we built is unusual in that it provides a bridge and relationship and connections between what's seen in the university setting and what happens in a commercial setting.
Thank you very much. Let's see here. So, given that the program is 1 year in nature, is it tough to build meaningful connections? Some East Coast programs offer 2 years of completion, which gives students more time to deepen connections. Does M-TRAM offer continuing support for graduating students to remain connected to Stanford resources that can build their careers? I'm thinking that either our leadership or Go can respond to this.
I think you should give Go a chance to respond.
Hi, Helen. Yeah, so let me just read that question again. So, oh, did it disappear?
Oh, sorry. Let's see here. Let's see here. Hang on 1 second.
So yeah, I mean, I would say just in terms of making meaningful connections, I would say that in any circumstance, sometimes you have a limited amount of time with certain people, and at least in my year, I was able to make meaningful connections with some of our advisors. I had connections with one advisor who allowed me to travel to Washington, D.C. and attend a rare disease conference and meet some of his team with their sort of government lobbyist group. And I think that making the meaningful connections really depends on how much effort you put into maintaining those connections during the program and afterwards. And I know a lot of our advisors are, they're here to help build your career during the program and after the program. And so I think one thing that distinguishes our program from those in the East Coast, one, it is a year-long program, so there's benefits to that. It's allows you to kind of jumpstart a little quicker. But also Stanford has a very entrepreneurial spirit that I think other programs don't have as much as Stanford does. We are in the Silicon Valley. Bay Area is very big on biotech. And it's a huge opportunity to be able to meet a lot of industry leaders and make really significant connections in your career aspirations.
Thank you, Go.
If I may just chime in to the alumni connections after graduation. So we maintain relationships with all of our alumni post-graduation, and our program is still young. This will be our 4th year, but we are planning to have retreats every few years with people who have graduated. But we, even before then, we maintain relationships. We keep in touch. We invite our alumni to our events, to our symposia, to our career fairs. And it's a very close-knit family, and our alumni do have access to interact with our advisors even post-graduation.
Thank you, Joanna. We've been receiving a few questions regarding our GPA requirement. Can you or Dean respond to that, please?
I already mentioned the GPA requirement of 3.0 being the minimal. Dean, do you want to chime in?
I think we don't want to give you the wrong impression as a group. We are not just looking at numbers. The issue is Stanford has set itself a minimum requirement, and it would be difficult for us to accept a student who had an average GPA below 3.0 because the university would tell us. But generally, we're not looking at some cutoff grade. We're generally looking at your whole application. We're looking at, and students come with different portfolios of exciting qualifications. There's students who have outstanding academic scholarship. There's students who have fantastic personal experiences. There's students who have demonstrated creativity or leadership in other ways. Express those to us. We mentioned the 3.0 because our program has been told by the university that we cannot accept somebody who has below that minimum threshold. Generally, our students, as Joanna implied, are academically strong, and it's unusual that we would consider a candidate just simply because we have so many candidates who've done well. But if your GPA is extremely good, of course, good. If your GPA is on the lower end of 3, but you've done something spectacular that you think makes you a good candidate, then you need to express that to us. We're looking, as Joanna and I both said, at your entire application. We look holistically, and we're also realize we're looking for a group of individuals that will make a great class. We're not looking for one kind of person, one place, one interest. We're looking for a group that have different interests that collectively will make a wonderful group that want to be together and see value being together. That because a lot of the value of our program is the interactions that our students have with each other, and the connections they make. The best compliments Joanna and I have gotten are not that, Joanna, you're amazing, Dean, we love you, Go, great TA, Laura, fantastic support. It's, boy, did I enjoy my class. Boy, am I continuing to get value from the colleagues I met. I also want to make clear, you meet lots of people. Lots of people. The program has courses. There are many faculty involved. There are many advisors involved. There are many opportunities to meet people. This happens continually. When we have lectures on Friday, they have lunch with you, and you have the chance to talk to people. You can reach out to faculty. So it really is more than we can just articulate by showing you by slides. The program is unique. It's unusual, and it's very participatory in terms of our faculty.
Thank you, Dean. Let's see here. Someone's asking how many students accepted each year. I was going to say that it varies. We have no specific number. And Joanna or
I
Dean?
can
Yeah.
just tell you, well, our history of our program, we have grown from having 6 students in year 1 to having now 15 students in year 3. We don't think we'll ever have 50 students because that defeats the purpose of having a very close-knit program where all the students offer each other, horizontal learning and are a close-knit group. But I would say somewhere around 15, 20-ish. We don't have a set number because it all depends on the people who apply. I mean, sometimes there are specific skill sets that that applicants have that we really want to have emphasized in the program, and then we will admit that one extra or those 2 extra people. So it's very hard to say right now, but we'll probably have around 15 or 20 people this year.
Thank you, Joanna. A few people have written in indicating that they are from the international countries, third world countries specifically, that unfortunately have few previous research experience. And they are wondering if this will affect the selection process. And I can start off saying that, as Jean pointed out, we look at the entire application, not for just one specific thing. And so with that, Joanna or Dean, please feel free to elaborate on that.
There's not one feature. Joanna and I both said that. Joanna?
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be specifically basic research experience that you have to have on your CV. It can be a business experience. It can be a, other kind of leadership experience. There's so many different phenotypes that are very interesting for M-TRAM, and it can be anywhere from research, technology, business, law, clinical. So any of those experiences that you have, especially if they're leadership experiences, will count.
Thank you. Let's see here. So, again, we have more GPA questions. One is asking, is the GPA for a college GPA or graduate degree GPA if somebody has more than one degree? So Joanna.
That's a hard one, but again, don't be fixated on the GPA itself. It's such a minor part of what we look at in an application. But just to be consistent and answer the question, if you have, let's say, a bachelor's degree and a master's degree, we will probably weigh more the latest degree that you earned. But if you, let's say, have excellent grades on your master's, but really poor grades on your bachelor's, then we would expect that you somehow explain how you have improved on what made the difference and why. But again, don't be fixated on the GPA. It's minor compared to all the other things that we ask you to state on your application.
And I can also say that some in the audience are asking about international degrees and their GPA not being, how can that be converted and so forth. I can tell you that the application itself has a mechanism that will convert grades and so forth. And the applications themselves are vetted by the graduate admissions office. And so thus they're the ones who can also answer that question. But I can tell you that if they have any questions about grades and so forth, they will reach out to you as well.
Why don't we, there's a good question for the students, like the students, we're being asked, What have you enjoyed the most and why? It'd be great if each of you could tell you what you've liked, and why.
So we'll start with Lee Won.
Yeah, whoever has the computer in front of them.
Yeah, I think for me, because I came more from the research perspective, and for myself, I love the wet lab experience. I love to work in the lab. So the most exciting part for me at M-TRAM was, like I said, the clinical rotation. I know the field that I want to work with, which is dermatological or dermatology. And I never had a chance to actually go into a clinic to watch the physician do their practice. And M-TRAN has provided me with the chance. I've been joining my PI's clinical for 10, 11 weeks for now. I've talked to the patients directly about their concerns, their journey. And my clinic was specifically focused in non-melanoma skin cancer. I've been exposed to a lot of procedures that I only read from the article or publication before. But now I see that the patient who are benefit from the technology or the research that we develop in the lab or the terms that I only exposed from the textbook before. So that's my favorite part.
That's great, Lee Won. And it's also a great empathy building experience, I think, the clinical rotation. Any other students would like to comment on what is their favorite thing that they
Next
like?
time. Why don't we have each student talk? Why don't you pass? Yeah, there you go.
Okay, Nadia.
Yeah, the clinical rotation has definitely been really beneficial, and it's been a really nice way to actually see the impact on patients themselves. I think another great thing about the program is how different every student in the cohort is. I really enjoyed learning so much about their previous work. We have a couple doctors in our cohort. We have a former investment banker. Like, it's very diverse, and it's interesting to see how all of us will one day play a role in translational research and how we all have the same like overall goal, but we all have different ways of getting there. Just super interesting.
Anisha.
We're playing like past the laptop. Yeah, so I guess kind of building off of that point, I think the diversity of students in the cohort has definitely been, I think, something that I've also really enjoyed, and that I think there's sort of this idea of like vertical and horizontal learning, or like peer learning. Like, as much as you kind of, learn from the classes, you're also able to learn from other students. I think, me personally, I think the question was also more directed to like what classes we've enjoyed so far. So every Friday we have sort of a weekly seminar focused on sort of a different area of drug development. And I think it's structured in an interesting way where sort of the fall is more preclinical, basic science, the winter is more clinical development, and the spring, I think, is more healthcare economics and entrepreneurship. So I mean, we've only had the fall quarter so far, but it's like a different guest speaker every week. There's free lunch. So I don't know. I think just kind of hearing different perspectives from the different guest speakers, and I think getting a really broad overview of the drug development process, I think really captures what sort of the M-TRAM program is kind of going for, and kind of the key concepts that are distinct from, I think, what you might learn in medical school or a PhD. So yeah, that's one of my favorite parts.
Thank you, Anisha. Go Butler or Nadia. I think Nadia is getting ready, right?
Oh yeah, I'm holding the laptop right now.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have the similar sentiment to Anisha. Like, I think my favorite course is the Friday course, because you get to meet with different guest speaker each week. You get to network with different people with different expertise and backgrounds. And if some of their career journey or their experience resonates with you or align with you, you would be able to like talk to them directly, establish like a meaningful connection, like what Go said. So I think that's like a really good opportunity for you guys to do it. And for the clinical rotation, I really enjoy it from my end, because the PI that I'm under right now, she's MD PhD. So she has a clinic, and then she also runs a lab. So I was able to see directly in person how the research from like bench top get translated into like patient directly. So it's an interesting experience. It's very empowering. I'm passing it to Go right now.
I guess I forgot what the question was. So.
What was your favorite class, or what was your favorite experience in M-TRAM?
It's a hard choice between two classes. During my year, we took a course where we essentially did basically the process that you come up with during the whole program in one quarter, just a little bit more condensed and not as fleshed out. You come up with a project idea with some partners, you present it in front of a faculty of scientists, academic professional or industry professionals, and they give you advice on your idea, how to make it better. The other class was one that we started last year and are teaching this year, called Biotechnology Law. And that one is really interesting, kind of learning about some of the aspects of how intellectual property works, coming up with patents and patent law. We had a guest speaker last year who was Reed Jobs. He's the son of Steve Jobs. It was a very interesting lecture that he gave. And we have that again this year, so I'm excited for that.
Thank you.
Nadia?
Oh, sorry, did we get everybody or are we still?
We didn't get Nadia Cave.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think she was first.
Give Nadia the computer. So we
No,
can
yeah, she already.
I already went, but I can go again if you'd like me
go
to.
again. We're so
know.
good first time.
Okay, I think
Actually,
yes.
why don't Nadia, why don't we have you do another question that I think got asked that the students should. People wanted to know what a typical day is like for you guys. Why don't you answer that question?
Yeah, I can answer that. I think it differs for all the different students depending on what their other commitments are. I know for myself, I am working part-time still in the lab that I was at while I was staff at Stanford before joining M-TRAM. I also have an internship, and I'm we also have our clinical rotation. So it really depends on the day, but it's definitely very flexible. And if you have other commitments, you can definitely make them work with the course load. But it is obviously classes should come first, and you should always attend your classes, but there's definitely room for other things as well.
Any other students would like to chime in on this? I know some of you may be taking some elective courses or have, other, added schedules. So maybe you could comment on this. Anybody? Musical chairs or musical laptops.
Yeah. Yeah, I think very similar to what Nadia said. Like totally depends, I think, on kind of your commitments outside of class, how you want to spend your time. Like for like kind of on the point of electives, I'm taking a class in addition to like the sort of required fall M-TRAM course load that it's actually taught by other PhD students at Stanford. And it's called like analysis of life science public companies. So it's more sort of focused on the intersection of business and biotech and kind of how to analyze, biotech companies, pharma companies, more sort of that bent. But you can also, I know some people in our cohort are cross-enrolled in courses at the business school. I think you can also enroll in courses at the law school, obviously other medical school courses. Yeah, so I think it really depends on kind of what you're interested in and how you want to spend your time outside of the required coursework. At least also for me personally, like I'm doing a part-time internship, so I go up to SF like for 2 days out of the week. And because of kind of the flexible course schedule, like I'm able to do that. So yeah, just as an example.
Adding on to that, I would like to also say that Stanford also has option for you to audit classes instead of enrolling it. So it's a good way for you to learn, take courses that you're interested in, but you might not be able to commit because of your capstone project or other commitments. So for me, like I'm currently like auditing a few classes on biomaterial sciences, which is like completely unrelated from this program, but I've been interested in like learning those areas. So it's been interesting for me because there's a lot of like interdisciplinary work in that field. So yeah, if you're interested in like taking a lot of business courses from the GSB program, you can also like audit it. You don't have to like enroll into the course.
So I think Joanna and I realized that the hour's up. I just want to say we really appreciate you joining us for this webinar. And I want Joanna to have a chance to say the last word, but I particularly want to thank the students because you are what are our program and you were great. And we're very fortunate to have you. And we hope those of you listening to us, if you're excited about our program, realize that we want great students who have great visions in translational medicine to be part of our program. And we look forward to you being part of our program. Joanna?
Thank you, Dean. Thank you all who attended the webinar. We really enjoyed sitting with you for an hour and answering the questions. Also want to thank our panelists, our students and our alumni who attended. I know that there were a lot of questions, so do not worry. We have transcribed all of them, and we will be sending an email to everybody and with the answers to the questions that you asked. And then if you have any unique questions about your own situation, feel free to write to us at the M-TRAM studies at stanford.edu. We are super excited to have you in the program. Please apply by the deadline. We want to meet you and work with you and have you as part of our M-TRAM family. So thank you for your time, for your attention, and we'll see you next year. Bye-bye.
So, thank you. And Ivan, I just want to let you know, I did capture all the questions. So,
Sounds good. I got the chat as well sent over to you.
okay. And then, as for